I'm Iris, and welcome to Publication Types and Why They Matter. No source in and of itself is good or bad. It's about how you're using the source and that you're matching up your rhetorical goals, your sources, and your audience. Your sources contribute to what you create. We're used to the idea that our sources help us make our point, but they do even more than that. Different kinds of sources help us do different kinds of things. Fundamentally, your papers are kind of like a bridge, getting your reader from belief A to belief B, and your sources and your arguments kind of act like the beams going across the bridge. A new beam every time your reader might disbelieve you, to hold them up and keep them from falling into the stream of disbelief. Imagine my delight when a scholar of rhetoric named Bishop developed a way of thinking about types of sources using an acronym that perfectly fits the bridge metaphor. He uses the acronym BEAM to help us think about what sources do in our research and writing. B is for background. This includes things like encyclopedias or bibliographies that are mostly used for their facts, or really any work that you're mostly gathering facts from. These are designed to lay out uncontroversial things. They're great for developing your own background knowledge, defining terms, and acting as springboards to get you to other sources. Generally, they're not great for engaging with in these scholarly conversations that you're having, so in academic writing, they're often kept to a minimum. E is for exhibits. Exhibits are the things that you're using to analyze in order to arrive at your insights. These can be social media, artwork, novels, data, or it could be an encyclopedia if you're examining how a topic was talked about at a particular time or by a group that developed the encyclopedia. A is for argument sources. These are the sources that you're in conversation with, you're engaging with them. Often, in scholarly work, these are other scholarly articles, or books, or other well-vetted things written by experts in their fields. In a lot of college-level papers, these are going to be the majority of your sources. These are the sources that make arguments, contestable claims that you're going to engage with as you move your reader to fresh insights. They are like conversation partners, and we all know that we can have a much more interesting conversation with people who engage with ideas rather than simply stating the obvious. M is for method sources. These could also be sometimes referred to as theory sources, but then you'd end up with beat, and beam is so much better. Method sources are things where you find a scholar using a particular method or theoretical framework to apply to your current project. This is especially important if you're the first person to write about a new topic, so then you can reference previous scholarship that approached similar topics in a particular way, and then you approach your topic in that same way. So the next time you're writing a paper, stop every once in a while and figure out how you're using your sources. Are your sources mostly background sources when you're actually supposed to be arguing a position? Maybe it would be a good time to think about finding and engaging with some argument sources, or bringing in some more exhibits, or bolstering your position with a method source. So we've talked about how your sources are your conversation partners, and you call on them in your own writing strategically to help you accomplish your writing goals. But your sources do another kind of important work for you in your papers. They signal to your reader that your reader can trust you and trust what you're saying. Readers have a hard time trusting you if they don't think that you're using the right kinds of sources. We often think of this in terms of citing the right people, and that certainly is important. You definitely want to be citing people who know what they're talking about. But for your reader to trust you that you really know what you're talking about, they'll want to know that you looked at the sources that are meant to do the right kinds of things. Maybe the world's foremost expert tweeted out a new research finding, but your reader wants to know that you looked at the context and the nuances that were included in the full research article that the expert published. Your source type has to help your reader to trust your observations and analyses. There are two important source mismatches to watch out for in your writing. First, in Catalyst and in other search tools, be sure to watch for the difference between books and reference entries. Reference entries come from encyclopedias, which are great for background and for pointing you efficiently toward high-quality scholarship, but they're not typically great for relying on in your writing and presentations. The second thing to watch for is reporting about research. If you see that experts are interviewed or cited in reporting or even in other people's scholarship, be sure to track down the original source whenever possible. And as always, I'm happy to talk to you about this as you work on your research here at Carleton. Contact me or set up a meeting.